சிங்கப்பூருக்கு போறீங்களா அப்போ அந்த வீடியோ
Hello,
கண்டிப்பாக
adventurer.
பாருங்க.
If you're planning to visit Singapore, then this video is for you. I'm your local Singaporean, and in this ultimate Singapore travel guide, we'll cover the best places to stay, how to get around, how to pay for things, and a lot more, so that you feel right at home in your visit to my beloved city. Let's begin. Welcome to Singapore. We're the smallest country in Asia with the biggest personality. 6 million of us share this small country, so it can get very crowded at times. You might have heard of us being the garden city, fine city, or the food paradise. It's all true, and you'll see why. Let's start with language. Singapore is the easiest Asian country to travel to because we're the highest ranks in Asia for English proficiency. In fact, globally, we are number 2. So, if you speak English, you are set. But even if you don't speak any English, wait, how are you watching this? Most of our public signs are multilingual, reflecting our multicultural roots. So, you'll easily find Mandarin, Tamil, and Malay translations alongside the English signs. And it's not just the signs. Most Singaporeans also speak a second language because we're forced to learn in school. So we have this subject called the mother tongue that everybody has to learn the language of their parents. And many of us, like myself, are naturalized immigrants, so we still speak our native language. Now, about money. In Singapore, we use the Singapore dollars. I love that the most commonly used notes are made of plastic, so they're very durable and they're also waterproof, which makes it easy for money. Most modern shops and restaurants are credit card friendly, but if you want to eat the most delicious and the most affordable local food in Singapore, you'll need some cash. If you're not sure how much to bring, just carry some spare notes because we have quite a few money changers here that you can convert more Sing dollars. By the way, you don't have to tip in Singapore. Usually, prices are as stated, but some restaurants may charge you GST and 10% service charge on top of the final bill. Drying my notes. Now about general safety. Singapore is the most dangerous country for drug traffickers. Just 500 grams of weed will grant you the capital punishment. So unless you're planning for this to be your last trip, don't bring any. Word of caution, even if the drug is in your system, it's still considered trafficking. The safest way is to not consume any before coming here. For everybody else, Singapore might be the safest country in the world. You want to get a snack at midnight? As a woman, come to Singapore. We have a very low crime rate and a very efficient law enforcement. However, low crime doesn't mean no crime, so you must still take care of yourself. So in summary, generally, Singapore is very safe. Now about Singapore being a fine city, other than how it's such a fine city, we also get the name because there's so many signs around that warn you not to do certain things that will end up in a fine. For example, no littering, no smoking, no durian. Yeah, you actually cannot bring durian into the buses and trains here because it's very smelly, and once it's in out of place, it will stay there for very long. Now, on to the best way to get around the city. Singapore has the best public transportation network in the world. Not only that it's super user-friendly, it's also the most affordable way to get around the city. For example, if you have to take a train from the Changi Airport to the Merlion Park, it'll take you about 1 hour and cost you slightly over $2. So let's learn how to ride the bus and the train. Do you have a credit card? The super basic way to pay here is to just use your credit card directly. All train and bus payment in Singapore takes Visa and MasterCard. You can even use Apple Pay. Otherwise, you can also get a cash card that's known as the EasyLink card. You can get them at any bus interchange or train station counter. You will need to top up the card using these machines. Just put your EasyLink card on the reader, then insert money or tap your card to top it up. Beware that you need at least $3, otherwise you'll get an error beep, 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 at the gantry. Then the door won't open and the bus driver might kick you out. Each person will need to have one card with them. Do note that your credit card provider will charge a daily admin fee for every day that you are using the card for public transport in Singapore. Honestly, it's still gonna be cheaper than having money stuck in your cash card on your last day in Singapore. For super basic navigation, I recommend getting a device with internet access and let Google Maps do most of the work. It works 90% of the time. Let's start with how to navigate when taking the bus. First, get to the bus stop that Google Maps tells you about. And make sure you're at the right bus stop. Just look out for this pole with a lot of numbers. These are the bus numbers that comes to this bus stop. So you want to make sure the bus number you're waiting for exists on that pole there. Also make sure you're going in the right direction. Look out for these info boards where you can see the bus and where they're going. You can see all the stations that the bus will stop at. Cross-check if your destination is in the list. Another super helpful feature here is this icon. This indicates if the train station is very near to the stop. The color indicates which train line it is. It's super helpful when you're trying to get to a train station. Once all is good, wait for the bus. The bus doesn't follow a specific schedule. On average, waiting time is about 10 to 15 minutes. When your bus arrives, give the driver a friendly wave. Pay attention to this, especially if you're the only one at the bus stop, because if you don't wave, the bus might just drive by and skip your stop. Next, get onto the bus. Tap your card at the reader and greet the captain. Look out for this yellow-red stop button that you can find all around the bus. When you're one stop away from your intended stop, press it. A bell will ring and the bus stopping sign will light up. Remember to tap your card at the exit gantry, else you'll be charged the maximum fare. Most of the time, you must enter the bus from the front door. One time, I saw someone entered from the back and he got scolded because the bus captain thought he was trying to dodge the fare. I hope you managed to get off the right stop. Now, let's touch on trains. The trains in Singapore are also locally known as the MRT. It's a large network of train lines that could look very intimidating the first time you see it. But don't be afraid, I'll teach you how to read this train map. After learning how to read this, you can go anywhere on the MRT line. Each of these colored lines represents a train service, and each label along it is a station. Where the lines intersect with a label, there's a station that will allow you to transfer from one line to another. I'll cover that in a bit. Once you get to your train station, tap your card to enter through the gantry. Then, find the right train platform to get to your destination. The train platform will have signs to tell you which direction it is going. It will display the name of the station at the end of the line. For example, on this green line, you will see the direction towards Tuas Link, and in the opposite platform, towards Pasir Ris or towards Changi Airport. There's always this line map on the platform for you to check which station you're at and which stations the train will go. The train does not run on a schedule. The average waiting time is about 3 to 10 minutes. Once you arrive at your destination, get off the train. Then tap out of the gantry and look out for the super useful locality map. Here, you can find out about all the station exits and the places of interest around the area. I usually look at this to find out which exit to get out from, so that I will be nearer to my destination. Now, back on the topic of transferring, sometimes you need to change bus or change train to get to your final destination. For changing bus, it's very simple. Just get off the bus station where you can take your next bus at. When you are changing train, you need to make sure you stop at the train station that has a connecting line. For example, if you're in Kent Ridge, going to Chinatown, you get onto the yellow line at the front, then change to the purple line to get to Chinatown. When transferring between train lines, you don't have to get out of the station. You just have to get off the train onto the platform and then follow the signboards that will lead you to your next train line. There's one exception. If you're taking the dark blue downtown line, you might still need to get out of the train station to get to the next platform where you can take your next train. The best part about transfer is that your fare is calculated by the distance traveled. So you don't have to pay extra if you change from bus to train and vice versa. Congratulations! You can now go anywhere in Singapore via the public transport. If you want something more comfortable or you want to reach your destination faster, there's also taxi services available across the whole island. And the easiest way to get these taxis is to call them via these ride-hailing apps called Grab, Tada or Zip. Download at least one of the apps and create an account before your departure so that you can use it the moment that you need it. For comparison, if you were to take a taxi from Changi Airport to Merlion Park, it would have taken you 20 minutes and will cost you anywhere about 20 to 25 Singapore dollars. And don't bother trying to rent a car in Singapore. Not only that it's going to be super expensive, you're also going to waste a lot of time trying to find parking. If you find this video helpful so far, please leave a like so that more people can find it. Thank you very much. Next, the most important question: where is the best place to book your accommodations? Are you looking for a hotel that's nearby to tourist attractions, within walking distance to amazing food places, at an affordable price? We're going to show you a map of the city. Where we are right now is the Merlion Park. I've marked the major tourist attractions on this map to give you a good gauge of where things are. Most of the tourist attractions are around this little area near the Marina Bay. So you might think, oh, is that the best place to stay? But no, they're way overpriced. Because not only they are in a very grand and prime location, these hotels, Fullerton and MBS, are 5-star luxury hotels. You do get an amazing view of the city, but unless you want to be poor after Singapore, I'm going to share with you places where you can get better value for your money. For comparison, the price per person per night at a budget accommodation is around $30 to $100. For mid-range hotels, $100 to $200, and anything above is higher end. Staying nearby the tourist attractions is very good, but what's even better is having good accessibility to our public transportation network, which is considered the best in the world. Our buses and trains are very user-friendly and they are the most affordable way to get around the city. For example, a trip from the Changi Airport to the Merlion will only take you 1 hour and cost you slightly over $2. The best way to utilize the public transportation network is to pick a hotel that's within walking distance to a major train station or a major road with many bus services. Of course, you still don't want to spend too much time in transit every day, so I always recommend staying outside of this area. To visualize our public transportation network, let's add another layer to our map. Each of these are the train stations, and those stations with more than one color are interchange stations that give you access to multiple train lines, giving you an even better accessibility. Now, let's look into the best areas to spend the night. At number 4, we have Little India. This is a very vibrant neighborhood. You can easily spend the whole day just walking around this area. The streets are full of F&B options, many of them offering Indian cuisine. And if you're a vegetarian, you'll have a lot more options in this area. This hawker center, called the Heka Center, is a must-go. There are also iconic cultural points of interest, such as the Sri Virama Kaliaman Hindu Temple, former Tan Teng Yang Peranakan House, and the Indian Heritage Center. Little India train station serves the Blue Line and the Purple Line, which gives you direct access to MBS via Bayfront, Sentosa via Harbourfront, and Chinatown. Looking at the accommodations available in this area, you get quite a few budget hostels and mid-range hotels to choose from, which are very suitable for budget travelers. So, Little India is a pretty good place, but a better place to stay at is the Outram Park. There isn't much in the immediate vicinity, but you get excellent accessibility. The Outram Park train station sits on 3 lines. You have a direct train line to Chinatown, to the Merlion Park via Raffles Place, Sentosa via Harbourfront, and the Gardens by the Bay, also Kampung Glam via Bugis. The local gem in the area is the Keong Saik Road. This is where you can find a lot of nice restaurants. However, there are only mid-range to high-end hotels that are available for booking, so this is not the most suitable for budget option. At number 2, the second best place to stay is at Bugis. It's also a very lively area. You can have a lot of fun browsing the Bugis street, where there are lots of street fashion shops. For modern amenities, there's the Bugis Junction and the Bugis Plus shopping mall. Food option is very good here. There's Albert Center, hawker center within walking distance, and Yangxian Street, where has nice restaurants, and actually all around the area there are dozens of eateries that you can choose from. You'll also be within walking distance to a major attraction, which is the Kampung Glam, where you can explore the Sultan Mosque, Haji Lane, and Arab Street. If you walk the other way, there's the National Library. Accessibility in Bugis is also very good. The road along Victoria Street has many bus services that connect you to Chinatown and Harbourfront to get to Sentosa. And Bugis Station serves the Green Line and the Blue Line, which gives you very convenient access to Little India, Merlion Park via Raffles Place, MBS via Bayfront, and many of our famous architectures at City Hall. Now, looking at the accommodation options in this area, there's lots of budget, mid-range, and some luxury options. So, very easy to find one that fits your bill. And the best place to spend the night in Singapore is Chinatown. This is a very vibrant neighborhood with lots of things. There's the Buddha Tooth Relic Temple, Sri Mariamman Temple, and generally lots of shops along the street. For more modern amenities, there's also a big shopping mall called the Chinatown Corner. The accessibility is the best here because the Yu Tong Street and the New Bridge Road has lots of buses that brings you everywhere. You can easily get to Kampung Glam via bus. On top of that, the Chinatown station serves the Blue Line and the Purple Line, giving you easy access to Sentosa via Harbourfront, MBS via Bayfront, and Little India, and just a short walk to Maxwell Station. That brings you straight to the Gardens by the Bay. You also in Chinatown because this is the place with the most number of hawker centers. You can find the Hong Lim Hawker, Chinatown Complex, Maxwell Food Center, and People's Park Hawker. You also get the best range of hotel options at very competitive price. There are many budget hostels, decent mid-range hotels, and even luxury high-end ones for you to choose from. So you'll definitely find one that fits your comfort and budget level. Before I get to the places that I don't recommend staying at, if you find this video helpful, please leave a like and use my affiliate link when booking a hotel so that I get a small commission which helps me make more video guides like this. Thank you very much. And here are the areas that you should not stay at and why. Number 1, Orchard Road. You'll be within walking distance to many very nice shopping malls offering very high-end luxury products. It's not a hard no, but I feel that it's not worth your money to stay here. In terms of accessibility, it's not too bad because the red line gives you direct access to the Merlion Park via Raffles Place, and the brown line can get you to Chinatown via Maxwell and Gardens by the Bay. To me, the biggest downside is the whole area is very grand, very nice, but I feel that I will miss the charming vibe and the liveliness of the shop houses, small eateries, and the hawker centers. Also, there are mostly just high-end hotels and maybe 1 or 2 mid-range options here, so it's not very budget friendly. Anyway, you're not gonna spend much time in the hotel, right? So I'd rather you spend that money elsewhere. Actually, if your objective coming to Singapore is to do a lot of shopping, this is the perfect place for you to stay in. But if you want to explore things that are more uniquely Singapore, then you might want to stay elsewhere. The second no is Sentosa Island. I'll just start with the prices, okay? Similarly, most of them are high-end hotels. But this time, not only that it's not worth your money, it's also a waste of your time because of the terrible accessibility of the Sentosa Island. The only affordable way to get in and out is via the monorail or walking down the boardwalk. There's also very limited public transportation all around the island. So if you plan to explore anything outside of Sentosa, you're going to spend at least 15 minutes just getting out of the island. The monorail is also notorious for being overloaded, especially on the weekends. Because it's much smaller than the normal trains, by peak periods, you might have to wait a a long time for holiday. The only scenario that I would recommend staying here is if you booked at least 2 to 3 full day activities that are all within Sentosa. For example, day 1 USS, day 2 Adventure Cove, day 3 Sea Aquarium, then maybe it will be worthwhile. Especially for families with children, because I know after a long day, it's nice to walk back to your hotel without fussing with transport. And the third area to avoid is Clarke Quay. Actually, Clarke Quay is right beside Chinatown, so it has a very similar level of accessibility. You will also be staying within walking distance to many restaurants and bars along the Singapore River. But that's the problem. Those restaurants and bars opens late into the night and they can get very loud. Personally, I also don't like to stay in areas that serves a lot of alcohol because I prefer not to encounter drunk strangers in the streets. The only scenario that I can recommend staying at Clarke Quay is if you are actually planning to experience the nightlife in Singapore. It's very convenient to be able to walk back to your hotel at 2-3 a.m. after partying for the whole night. But if you prefer to have a good night's sleep, then I suggest staying elsewhere. We've covered the basic things, but there's so much more, like the top things to do, best food to try, how to eat at the hawker centers, so much to cover. That's this ultimate Singapore guide playlist next, and I'll see you there.